What's up, guys? It's your boy, GGZII. We are producing some content today because there's actually content, guys. That's right. I haven't been doing little blah blah blah. Oh, there's a small bug fix, because it's pointless, right? It's a waste of time. The footage in the background is going to be some boom snipe gameplay. First of all, GGZII is getting a sort of renovation when the Xbox Series X/S gets updated. 120 FPS, less latency, overall better experience for those that are upgrading to the next generation of console. This is only going to be a positive for GGZII. More people are going to experience the game in a higher fidelity with less lag, and that's fantastic. We can talk about the fact that the game is a little bit wishy-washy at the moment, that the netcode might cancel out the fact that there's less latency, but if we're looking at the face value, this is a great update. Now, on top, you can play the campaign with skins. Now, personally, I think this is a bit janky because I feel like the story mode should be thematic, a cool looking art style, and you should stick to it. But I understand replayability, and modern franchises have to try new things. So if you've got a Kate skin, a Marcus skin, you could play as Halloween Kate, you could play as Batista in the campaign. For me personally, these aren't like huge things, but I know they're important for people, and I know it's a great thing for the game, and I can only say that's a good job. So, and on top, we also have a Hive Buster campaign, which is apparently going to be around 4 hours, and that's going to be bringing out information in early December. So not only are we getting all of these updates, we're also going to be getting the December campaign, which is nice. I imagine there'll be some new achievements, maybe even difficulty. We've been talking about New Game Plus, Iron Man, etc. And I think these are all going to add replayability, add depth to the game. Now, in specifics about the what's up, 2 new difficulty modes, couple character skins for Kate, Dell, and JD. There's going to be new weapon skins, going to be mutators in there, new achievements like, so the mutators would be big head mode. We've probably been there and seen them all, but this just adds a bit of fun and a bit of replayability. Maybe you haven't played the campaign in a while and you do kind of want to go back into it. You kind of want to enjoy what's, on offer, but you've played it. You've played it, you've been there, you're not too sure that, is that kind of what I want to do? These might give you the ability to just drop back in and go, you know what, I'm going to jump back into it. So again, these are positives. That's all you can say, that these are positives for the game. Should a character skin be in a single play game? Maybe, maybe not. But if you don't want to play it, you can turn off the skins, play with the default characters. Sorry, someone just jumped right into my eye. If you want to play on like Iron Man, which is like XCOM, which is where if you die, you get sent back to the start of the campaign, that's also content that you could bring, stream, create. That's all good news. Okay, so in the what's up specifically, we've also had some changes, and I'll give you some positives and negatives. Changes are going to be based off the developer playlist. There's going to be improvements to GGZII based on the Xbox Series X. There's going to be 2 times multiplayer and a free boost, which multiplies it again, so it's going to be 4 times XP on this weekend. Now, there are some interesting things. Now, I did kind of lash out on Twitter, and I did give my opinion on this for those that follow me on Twitter at ZTwitch. You'll already know my thought. The weapons timers are going to be decreased. Their quote is, weapon pickups are incredibly fun and useful, so they should respawn faster. Of course, exclamation mark. Timers will now universally be set to after use, and respawn times vary depending on the weapon. So if you use your last bullet of a GL, they'll be back up in 90 seconds, as with incense, breaker mace, boom shot, torque bow, long shot, and shocks are going to be 60, and all the secondary weapons are going to be 30. Now, this is a bit confusing to me because they say that weapon pickups are incredibly fun and useful, and that's up for debate. For me personally, I think they have a place in the game, but I think most people are enjoying gears because they have that ability to have shotgun fights, lancer fights, and they're not just getting mollywopped by a sort of power weapon constantly, right? In other games, you constantly get beat by kill streaks, power weapons. Gears is kind of that classic vibe where you don't need a power weapon to win. So I feel like bumping up the amount of pickups is a bit questionable. But also what they've done is it's a bit contradictory, because they're saying, hey, listen, I understand you want more weapons, but now universally, the weapon pickups are set to after use. We've all seen this in Team Deathmatch, where somebody gets the boom shot and fires 1 boom shot and holds onto it, and the gun will never ever respawn. So now, if you're in a King of the Hill setup and the enemy team have the gun, they can just never waste the ammo, it will never respawn. I feel like that could be very problematic. Health regen has been delayed. So it used to be if you're in cover, you begin to regen in 1.5 seconds, and if you're moving and you're out of cover, it's 3 seconds. What they've done is they've found a middle ground, and they've put it at 2.5 across the board. Again, this is a change I don't like. I mentioned it in the dev playlist. I feel like this is one of the dev playlists that was not played as much, and yet every change that was in the dev playlist is now in the game. So yeah, being able to regen whilst moving 0.5 seconds quicker isn't bad, but now if you take cover, you don't regen. From playing in the playlist like we did the testing, couldn't regen. I was just constantly red, and then as I was constantly red, people could go wide on me. I didn't like the lack of health regen. I feel like we should be increasing the speed of the regen, not slowing it down. Next up, we have the ADS spread. This is getting bigger, meaning when you hard aim somebody across the map, it does less damage, meaning you can't poke as much, aka now you're, instead of varying the playstyles from roadie run strafing, gibbing, shotgun dancing and poking, it's now becoming less about poke. Now some people might like that, I get it, some people just want to fly in there and gib, and that's cool and all, but I feel like it makes it repetitive. I feel like having a little bit of poke damage makes the game more varied, and I don't like the fact that they're just kind of nullifying poke. And then to top it off, they're increasing the hip fire spread of the shotgun. This means that now when you're up close, your spread's going to be bigger, more likely to hit more pellets, more likely to get more kills. So they're nerfing poke while simultaneously increasing hip fire spread. I'm not quite sure what's going on here. I don't feel like anybody asked for less poke and more hip fire spread, so that's a bit questionable. And then there is cover mitigation has been removed. This is to increase the amount of shots you can land on somebody who's behind cover, will make it feel more consistent. This is very vague. There's no pictures, there's no gameplay examples. It's just a very vague point in kind of TC fashion. So overall, the actual changes to the game, I think, are really, really bad. And I said on Twitter that one of the things I've thought was, you can tell that this game is designed with a developer that plays in a tournament. So recently there was a tournament where 5 PC players, absolute sweatlords, played against the 5 best console players for like 7 hours straight for $500, and one of the guys competing in there was a developer. So you can tell that they really like the teamwork, they really like the hard, like the keep somebody red, go wide on them, down them. I feel like none of these changes promote fun gameplay, which is very worrying. And to top it off, the flashbang has been buffed. And I knew about this a while back, because when I was watching the tournament, basically they were struggling to break setups because they were against 5-man sweat teams. So he said he was going to buff the flashbang, and now the radius of the flashbang has been increased. Again, yes, maybe in a specific competitive setting, that's better. But I feel like all that's now going to happen are people going to put the stun on their primary, and in the middle of a shotgun fight, they're going to start throwing out stuns again. You're going to be on exhibit in that room, or the train map asylum, I should say, and you're going to be getting flashbang after flashbang after flashbang. And I don't like that, and I don't think that's conducive to fun gameplay, and I really don't know what's going on with the changes here. So these are some negatives for me this week. I'm just not too sure what's going on. For me, a flashbang, if you want to have it to be a setup breaker, it's a quite simple fix. You make it have a long wind-up time. That way, if everybody's in cover on the enemy team setup with their lancers, you swing your flashbang. After a second or two, you can then throw it, and it does a big radius explosion or whatever to break the setup. Having it instantly throwable with a big radius just means that ultimately shotgun fights are going to be ruined. You've obviously got new skins like Murder Pool Lizzie. That's a cool looking one if you want to grind there. You've obviously got the bonus XP. These are positives. You've got the screen latency is going to be getting lowered. In fact, it's going to be lower on average than a PC. And the input to screen latency in the campaign is going to be lower. That is 36% and 57% lower in the campaign. So these are definitely good changes, and it's weird to see it mashed with a load of other changes. On top, we have a few more things to discuss. We have a Fenix Collection, and I'm going to come at this from a different perspective because I feel like I'm one of the only ones saying this, and I got a lot of stick on Twitter for it, but I'll stick my neck out and I'll say it again. I don't want a Gears of War Fenix Collection. Say why? Why? In a perfect world, if the Gears of War Fenix Collection arrived on my PC tomorrow and I could play Gears 1, 2, 3 in 1440p, 144 frames, I'd love it. But I feel like the reality of the situation is Gears of War 1, 2, and 3, their models, the way the game's set up, they're not a live service. Unlike Gears 5, these don't receive constant updates. They would just be put out there and you'd be able to play them. And I feel like what would happen is a company would spend a year or two perfecting this Fenix Collection. People would play Gears 1, enjoy it for like a month or two. Gears 2 would be added to the collection. People would play that for a bit. Then people would play Gears 3 for a bit. And then ultimately, the games would just die off. Now, again, if I'm being selfish, yes, I'd like a Fenix Collection. I could just play it, I could stream it, we could have some fun and I could move on. But if I'm being honest and sticking to the roots of my channel, I want Gears of War to improve. And I think all of that development money, time and costings would be better spent on innovating and getting Gears 6 up to the level it deserves. Let's get absolute superb graphics, let's get superb gore, let's get a ton of maps, let's get a modern ranking system that actually works, let's get proper customization like tactics, let's really upgrade the franchise, talking Doom level gore, not this chunky Gears 5 gore. I feel like if we made a Fenix Collection, it would just end up taking away from Gears 5 and 6. If that's not the case, if they can make a Fenix Collection and I can play it for a few months and have a blast, sure, go for it. But my initial gut feeling was the Gears franchise isn't going to come back to its best with a Fenix Collection. It might have a slight uprising in views, it might get some people interested, but ultimately it's going to dip off. And I feel like there would be better spent fully upgrading the netcode, the maps, everything about Gears 5 and 6. That's my personal opinion. I'm not against the Fenix Collection, but I wasn't on Twitter asking it for it to be trending. I was very, very low-key on it. Next up, because I want to do all of these videos before I go on my break. If you didn't know, I was going on a break, and the next videos are all going to be tactics. If you want to know why, there's a video here that you can click in the description, and that explains how much work I've been putting in this month, and why I'm going on a little mini break and posting my tactics videos. So as you know, I have a community Discord, I have my DMs open on Twitter in case anybody wants to reach out, and I'm quite an open person. And a long-time subscriber and viewer, Tricky, sent me a direct message quite a while back, and I just haven't had time to get round to it, and also there hasn't been a lot going on in terms of Gears, and I didn't really feel like it needed an answer, but I feel like I can give it a quick answer now. He says, he introduces, he says, I'm enjoying your content. He says, I think a really nice idea would be your expectations for Gears 5. And if I was to say my expectations for Gears 5, they would be different from my wants. I'd like at least 5 proper multiplayer maps, a better netcode. I'd like more exclusive Tour of Duty content. I'd like there to be less modes in rank, so the playlists aren't as sparse, they're more populated. And then the quick play games could just have a rumbly style playlist. These are single life game modes, these are respawn game modes, and then there's just 2 playlists that are way more popular, because nobody likes to play bots. I'd like to have better rewards for ranked. I feel like a flaming skin just doesn't really appeal to me, and I'd like to have stacks solved. I've done whole videos, I've done 2 weeks of testings on the ranking system, I've done 2 weeks of testing on gameplay balance, and it feels like I'm often ignored, which is understandable, I'm just one guy, but I don't feel like what I'm asking for is some niche specific thing to me. I feel like I'm asking for the game to generally improve. I feel like most people don't like playing against stacks. I feel like I gave a really detailed explanation of how to fix the problem. I'd like to see more horde variants, more escape variants, more maps. I'd like to see the netcode to be addressed. These are things that have been told to me from developers. Yeah, it's on the list, but they never seem to get done. Now, if I want to think about my expectations, as in what is going to happen, I'd like to sum it up like this. One of the strangest decisions TC has made is they're doing all of this, right? We've just spent 20 minutes talking about all of these things that they're going to be doing. But listen, Operation 5 is coming out weeks after the console launch.